right. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Dr. Wu and Dr. Gang, for bringing me over here to give this talk. At the same time, thank you everybody who took time to come here today, Saturday, to listen to a Dhamma talk and to engage in a Dana ceremony after the Dhamma talk. So our topic for today is, why do we perform Dana for the departed relatives? I think it's a very interesting topic. Can you all hear me well? Okay. All right. So, yeah. The first thing that we have to look at is Dana, and then we can look at what you call the departed people, right? And then the whole activity. So there are three main things to talk about, right? Dana, because why do we perform Dana for the departed relatives? So I think Dana is not a new thing to all of you, right? It's a very common practice. But the problem is, we do not know what kind of mentality that you may have been maintaining while offering Dana. That is something to talk about. And also Dana as a practice of an integrated activity. Dana always goes hand in hand with other rest of the virtues. It's not a stand-alone practice. It is not the only practice, right? And then the departed relatives. Do we have a name for them in Pali? For the departed relatives? Do we have a Pali name? Like you have Sudhamma, right? Sudhamma. Well, what do you call it? Dhamma is doctrine, or I would say teaching. When you add su, the prefix su, what will the word become then? Huh? Like Swakkhata, Akkhata. Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo. Akkhata means said. But when it is said Swakkhata, Su-Akkhata, it will become a grammatical combination. Swakkhata, well spoken. So then, this Sudhamma means then?
Excellent.
Yeah, excellently given Dhamma. Right. Siramban Sudhamma Buddhist Society. So the society where you have the excellently given Dhamma. Right? Have you ever given some thoughts about it? Not so far. The Pali has meanings, right? Because each Pali word has a meaning, literal meaning and the contextual meaning. So we have to understand these two. So, what is the Pali word for the departed relatives? You always pour water and you perhaps think about them all the time after Dana. I think in your culture you reflect upon ancestors. It's all about the departed people. What is the Pali word for the departed relatives? A very fundamental question. I mean, it's not a very rocket science kind of question. What is it? It is called? Really?
Not the Nyati Dhamma.
Jnati, yes, Jnati is what we know because we had the relationship with them, but now they became departed people. So we have a Pali name for them. What is it? I think you know that name. Peta. You know that name? Peta. P-E-T-A. A long name. Huh?
Peta is a ghost, isn't it?
Not necessarily a ghost. They can become ghost. Not necessarily.
But the relative is not the same.
Not always ghost. Becoming ghost. That's what we are going to talk about today. Be patient. All right? Peta. Then what about the living people? Do they have a Pali name too? For us, we are still living. We are not yet dead here. We may have been dead in the past lives. Putujana. It is a Pali term looking at our spiritual attainments. Yes. Putujana, Seka, Aseka, they are terms that are being used by looking at our spiritual status, but not our primary Pali term like Peta. What is that word called? Yeah, Manusa is a name for our birth. But we are living beings, huh? We are living beings. What is the Pali word for living beings? There may be an animal, maybe a tiny creature, maybe a satta. Yes, satta is one word. Actually, when you say satta, peta also satta. They are also satta. Anybody is satta. Now, I'm asking those living beings who are living now, not yet passed away. There's a Pali word for that. Bhuta. B-H long U. Bhu, T-A, long A. Bhuta. Then let's figure out who are these two groups. Peta, Bhuta. Peta means all those people who passed away already that we know. And those beings who are living now, like us, they are called Bhuta. Then there is another type of beings who are going to be reborn, going through the state of looking for a womb, a place. Gandhabba is a Pali term, yes, but we have another term too. I think we have to talk about that today a little bit. If you know Karaniya Metta Sutta, then you will find all the answers. Sambhavesi va, Sambhavesi, beings who are looking for a new birth. Maybe they are in between. Alright? So now let's figure out these three terms. Peta, Bhuta, Sambhavesi. Or maybe we can say Peta, Sambhavesi and Bhuta. It's like a gradual way, because Peta already dead, and then Sambhavesi now looking for a birth, and Bhuta already taken the birth. Right? And then what will happen to Bhutas after that? They will again become Peta. And then become Sambhavesi. Again become Bhuta. Sansara, right? That is how things go. Alright, so we are looking for teachings of why living beings, Bhutas, should give merits to Petas. Bhuta to Petas. Right? That's interesting. So let's figure out the Bhutas first. Now I said to you, Bhutas are those beings who are living now. How many Bhutas are there? Like how many realms that you can see that there are Bhutas in this universe according to Buddhism? 31 we call realms, places. How would we describe them? We start from the apayas, the lowest places. What is the lowest apaya? Yeah, Naraka, we call it Naraka. N-A-R-A-K-A, Naraka. How many Narakas are there? Should be more, because many people may go to hells. Right? The chance of being into a hell could be more than somebody going into a good place. Right? High chances are there, right? How many hells could be there in Theravada? There are 8 hot hells and 8 cold hells. Actually, this is from Mahayana, the cold hells. So we have 8 hot hells and 8 cold hells. So people suffer mostly in hot weather, in hot situation, but we never thought about people can suffer in cold weathers too. Right? People suffer in both situations. That is the lowest realm. And then, one step further than that level, there are still 4 hells. Tirachana. What is Tirachana? Animals, animal kingdom. They have a certain way of suffering. Right? And some animals are more comfortable, some animals are not that comfortable. Right? It depends. So, second. Now we are going slowly up. Third apaya is Naraka Tirachana Petas. Petas. These Petas. People translate to be ghost, but you can't say Petas are ghost. Petas are departed beings. There may be ghost among the departed beings. Who knows? There are 4 types of Petas. Nijjhama Tanhika, there are Pali terms. I will only pick the right ones, relevant ones. Nijjhama Tanhika, Kuppipasa, Pansupisacha, Paradattupa Jeevi. Nijjhama Tanhika Petas are Petas. They can only be seen by looking at other objects, probably a burnt branch of a tree, maybe a dilapidated place. Only because I remember there's one place where one monk asked from 2 children, do you need food? And he went on Pindapata. Then they said yes. Then the monk asked 2 children, where's your mother? You can't see her. Really? You can only see her through this burnt piece of branch of the tree. So they are not visible whatsoever. Nijjhama Tanhika Petas. And then Kuppipasa, those Petas who are consuming bad things, dirty things, right? Because there are a lot of things they can consume, but they cannot. There's one story about them. It's a real story in the Vimana, I think it's Petavattu. In that story, it says there was an Arahant called Pottapada. What's his name? Pottapada, the Arahant monk's name. One day, there was a Peta appearing late night in front of him. And then Arahant Pottapada asked, who are you? He could not recognize. He said, Bhante, I'm your brother. Oh, me and your parents, my parents, your parents, we all are Petas now. Just imagine, Arahant's brother and parents became Petas. And then what about us? Pottapada, Arahant Pottapada's mother, father and brother all became Petas. Then Arahant Pottapada is an Arahant. He asked, how can I help you? And he said, Bhante, we don't have clothes. Can you do something for us? Then he thought about something. He went on Pindapata. He found out some robes. Then he offered to another Sangha, Arahants, maybe other Sangha. So after a couple of days, that brother Peta again appeared late night. Then he said, thank you very much. We got clothes. Initially we didn't have, we were naked. Then Arahant Pottapada asked, how can I help you? He said, Bhante, we don't have water. He said, look, it's a large river going on near us. No, if we go there, if we're going to take some water, water will become blood. We cannot drink. So can you then do something for us? So then Arahant Pottapada, he found a filter and then found some water. He offered to another Sangha thinking about his brother and parents. Next day, Peta again appeared in front of him. He said, thank you for the water thing also. Now the problem is, we don't have a place to stay. Petas also they are also needing some places. Even invisible places. Then he told some of his Dayakas, devotees, said, I want to offer kuti, a small place or something for Sangha, a vihara. Said, okay, we will do for you. And then they made a kuti or maybe a vihara for other Sangha. And then now Peta was not visible for a couple of days now. Very happy. They got the place. And after certain days, he again appeared. And then he said, Bhante, thank you for the house. We got the shelter, we got water, and we got clothes. But now the problem is, we don't have slippers. So when we are walking, so the pebbles are pricking us. Can you offer something for that too? So then the Arahant Pottapada on the next day found some other Sanghas. He offered some slippers, some sneakers or slippers to them. And then Petrus did not, that Peter did not, his brother did not show up again. This means there are certainly needy Peters. So Kuppipasa could be that kind of Peters, third category of the Peters, right? So the interesting thing is that they are not bothering non-relatives, they are bothering relatives because they don't know other people, right? It's like that you sending your child to a Western or another country to study. She cannot work over there, so you need to send money. Otherwise she or he cannot stay there. You have to spend money for the fees, spend money for the accommodation, right? Can he or she depend on somebody else over there? No. Same thing. Petas have the same way. You have to. Then the fourth peta is Paradatta Upajivi. Paradattu Upajivi. Paradattu Upajivi means Petas who are there for a short time, like a transit, and looking for good karmas instantly from his or her past relatives. That Peta world is only for a short time. Do you think are all of us going to stay there or only few people can be there? It depends. Most of us, when we die, we are not spending any moment of time in between. We are going to be reborn. We don't have this Antarabham concept. It is mostly espoused by Mahayana and Vajrayana concept, like Bardo state. In Theravada, we believe, even you look at Abhidhamma, in a moment of the flash of time, you are reborn. There's no in-between time. If there's an in-between Antarabhava time, the fundamental concept of Buddhism, Paticca Samuppada, is going to be null and void. Cause, effect, they are always working. All the time working. But you can have an idea about an intermediate state this way. Let's say somebody pass away, going to be reborn in a painful state for a short time. Then die over there and then going to be reborn again. You could say this is an intermediate state, but not in the way that everyone must spend an in-between time before the next life. You don't have that idea, it can. So there are 4 Peta worlds. That means when you transfer good karmas after dana or after something, who are the Petas you are mostly thinking about? The 4th kind of Petas, Para, Dattu, Upajivi, right? So those are the Petas. So these are the beings who represent the 3rd hell. Then the 4th one, Asuras. Asuras are very powerful beings. They are lower than the humans. They are always having fights over Devas and Asuras. Sura Asuras. Asuras are sometimes more powerful and Devas are sometimes more powerful. Remember that sutta about Asuras? If you have a chanting book at home, have you ever heard this sutta? Dajagga Sutta. Dajagga Sutta. The end of the flag sutta. What is this about? There was a time Devas came to see the Buddha, pleading. And they said to the Buddha, Bhante, you know that we have an ongoing fight with Asuras. Now we are kind of retreated because they have more power now. They are creating more powers. So we are kind of behind the operations. Can you do something for us? Can you help us? Then the Buddha asked, what do you do when you get feared, when you get scared in the war? They said, we always think about the god called Varuna, an Indian god, Hindu god, very famous Hindu god. If Varuna cannot help us, then we think about Isana, another god. If Isana cannot help us, then we think about Pajapati. And when all of these gods cannot help us, then we think about Sakka, Indra. But still, there are a lot of moments that we are struggling with fears, horripilation, terror, stress, frustration. Then the Buddha said, no wonder, no surprise. Because Sakka is someone who has not eradicated Raga Dosa Moha, Lobha Dosa Moha. So when you are scared with raga dosa moha, it's about dosa. When you are going to think about another raga dosa moha person, do you think that person can help you? It is not. So I'm going to teach you a method. Each time when you're scared, when you are stressed out, when you are frustrated, confused, when you think that you really need help, then I'm going to tell you a way to overcome that state of mind. First, you can think about the Buddha, me or other Buddhas. Right? Evang buddhang sarantanang dhammang sangancha bhikkhuva. So let's say wherever you go, maybe to a forest, maybe to in front of a tree, at the foot of a tree, maybe to an empty room like even in the city, if fear arises within you, then you can think about my qualities. What are they? Arahang, Samma Sambuddha, Vijjacharana Sampanna, Sugata, Lokavidu, Anuttaro, Purusadhammasarati, Sattade Manusanang, Buddha Bhagava. How many qualities are there? 9. You can think about, not just literally saying, Itimso Bhagava Arahang Samma. You have to know the meanings. Then only your fear will go down. But there are moments your fear will stay. Even Buddha's qualities may not help you at certain time. Then you have to go to Dhamma. Noche buddhang sareyata niyanikang sudesitang ata dhammang sareyata. Whenever remembering the Buddha's qualities do not help you, then you have to go to the thinking about the Dhamma. How many qualities are there in the Dhamma? 6. Swakhato, Sandittiko, Akaliko, Ehipassiko, Opanayiko, Pacchattam Vetabbo Vinyohiti. 6 qualities. And there are also some moments, even by thinking about the Dhamma also you cannot get some help. Then the Buddha said, Noche dhammang sareyata niyanikang sudesitang ata sanghang sareyata lokajettam. Then you have to think about the Sangha. How many qualities do Sanghas carry? 9. Supatipanno, Ujupatipanno, Gayapatipanno, Samiti Patipanno, so and so forth, ending with Anuttaram Punyakettam Lukasa. Now somebody might think, oh, Sangha is that powerful, huh? Yes, it is. Because Buddha is also part of Sangha. Who separated Buddha from the Sangha? Those are the later books. Buddha is not separate from Sangha. Let me tell you. His stepmother, Pajapati Gautami, made a robe. She actually handmade that robe. And then before she passed away, she brought it to the Buddha. Said, Bhante, I would like to offer this to you. Then he said, no, do not offer me personally. Why? Because I want to make it more fruitful. He said, bring it to the Sangha. When you offer to the Sangha, I am also part of the Sangha. That's the whole line. Because Sangha has no one person. Buddha was initially Sangha. Although he established the Sangha order, he is also part of Sangha. But now, we are going by the culture, tradition. So we are going to say, Buddha is there, Dhamma is here, Sangha is here. And I am here. We are trying to physically locate all these things, like the science. It might not work in reality. But it may work in tradition, because we have respected tradition too. So in that way, the Buddha says, then think about the Sangha. Then by this time, your fears, your horripilation, your whatever confused mental state of mind should have gone down. That means Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Then actually they went to the war again by taking this advice. And they won. They was won over Asuras in that sutta. Dajagda Sutta. It's near the Bojjhangas actually, the chanting. Anyways, so Asuras. Then the human world. Actually we don't say human world, human space. There could be many human spaces in this universe. But we take all together like humans. Then 6 heavens. What are they? Chatum Maharajika. Let's go by order. Yama. No, Yama is the second. Chatum Maharajika. Yama, Tavatinsa, Tusita, Nimmanarati, Paranimita Vasavati. That's the old. The last two worlds are owned by the Mara, Vasavati Mara. He is more powerful than everybody. In this whole karma world belongs to him. Even the Rupa and Arupa worlds. He is the most powerful person in this whole universe, not Sakka. Sakka only helps whenever he can, not whenever he cannot. There are situations. Whenever you can, you're going to help. But whenever you can't do anything. You just watch what's going on. Right? Mara. Who are the beings that are going to be reborn in the Paranimmita Vasavati, Nimmanarati? Those beings who have done a lot of good karmas by thinking about the next life a lot. And then those beings who are going to be reborn in the last two heavens, they're going to be Maras also. Because every Deva in the Maras two heavens, they are also becoming Maras. Mara Devas. Right? Anyways, after that, then there are Brahmas. 16 Brahma worlds. Starting from Brahma, Brahma Purohita, Brahma Parisajja, Mahabrahma, Paritaba, Appamanaba, Subhakinna, and then the last 5 in that list, we call them pure lands. In Mahayana they say only one pure land, Amitabha Buddha, Dhyani Buddha. Theravada we have 5 pure lands. If you don't know. Mahayanists might say you don't have a pure land, only we have the pure land. Right? We're going to be with the Buddha Amitabha, the Dhyani Buddha, meditation Buddha. The physical Buddha is your Buddha also, Shakyamuni Buddha. In Theravada, pure lands are not places where you're going to be with the Buddha. Buddha is already gone. He is a part of Anicca. Only his teaching flourishes with Sangha. In these pure lands, only people who become anagamis here, non-returners, they will be reborn there and become an arahant in those one of the 5 Brahma worlds. That is the Theravada version of pure land. 5 pure lands. Right? Is it all? Is that all? No, there are 4 more other Brahma worlds. We call them Arupavachara Brahmas. Akasanan Chayatana, Vinyanan Chayatana, Akinchanayatana, Nevasanyana. So this is how we understand 31 places where a departed person can be reborn. Now when a Peta, once somebody becomes a dead person, we call that person a Peta. But not the Peta under that Peta categorization. Initially, in the moment you die, you become a Peta. Then you will become a Bhuta. But some people, when they die, they will become a Peta, and all along they will become that established version of the Peta. Alright. Now, what can we do for them? What is the easiest way that we can help a Peta as a living beings? Transference of merit. That means in the ways of Dana is number 1. Is Dana the only thing that we can do to help them? There are many other ways. You need merits. If you can make merits, you can definitely try to transfer to them. But the easiest way is Dana. Right? What is Dana in Buddhism? A good question, right? Dana is not only a Buddhist practice, right? Everybody does Dana. Even in Hinduism, Christianity, Jainism, Islamism, everybody gives Dana. What is special in the Dana activity in Buddhism? How is it different from, how is the Buddhist Dana different from other, you don't need to talk about other religions, let's talk about why is it distinct, different from others. Huh? Yeah, sharing merits is one, but what is the most important, the core of our Dana, the Buddhist concept of Dana, especially from Theravada? Letting go is one, almost one step closer to that. Giving up. Giving and giving up. That means when you offer dana, you should You may wish that you want to transfer, but in the deepest sense, what you are supposed to do is that I spend money, this money was hard earned, I spent money, time, but I'm not going to be greedy for the money I spent. What will happen when you are greedy for the money you spend? Then you think, today I spend 300 so and so, I have to expect something more than, it's going to be an investment, like an interest. That is not Buddhist Dana. Buddhist Dana is whenever you offer something, you are going to overcome, give up any lobha, dosa, moha attached to that activity. Is it an easy thing or a little bit challenging to many? Is it a challenging thing or is it an easy thing? It's a challenge. Good things are challenges. Not talking bad about others is a challenge. Bad mouthing is very easy. Grab your phone and talk to somebody. Say that person said this and that. Right? All good things are challenges. Some people overcome it over the course of time. Consistency, commitment, all that. So, the true purpose of the Buddhist Dana is the purification. You purify your state of mind from greed, hatred, delusion. Where is greed going to be? Now, for example, you are offering something used for some time. Let's say you have something in your fridge that's been there for some time. Now you don't want to eat it and you're going to offer to somebody. Is this a dana? No, this is dana also. You are giving. Even some people just throw away, but you are thinking you want to give it to somebody. It is dana. But you go to the grocery shop, you buy something, probably is in good quality. So when you are to give that expensive thing and that expired or whatever in the fridge for some time, do you think there are two states of mind appearing, coming out? Yes. To which thought you have more greed in those two situations? Is it the food that you had in your fridge for some time, or in your house for some time, or the food that you bought by spending money, some money? In which situation that you have lots of greed? Fridge? You have more greed for that? Spending money and buying something that can create more greed. Because I spend my money, my hard-earned money, lots of attachments. That is where you're going to try. Take a chance to think about, no, I'm not going to attach to it. I'm trying my generosity. Right? Now, this does not mean you cannot offer the little bit used stuff. Please do them, because that's a very good thing. Your clothing, your food, definitely. Also, try to do the rest, other one also. Now, in another example, you have I would say, piece of cloth that you have been using, but it is in stable condition. Let's say it is a shirt, right? And you are going to buy a new shirt from a shop, maybe a branded one. Now, but you are trying two different moments of offering. Now, you want to offer the one that you use for some time, the worn out one, maybe the stable condition one, and the other one is the one you bought from a shop. It's a branded one, a general one. Now, you are trying two different states of mind. Where would you think that you will getting some greed out of these two situations? The newly bought one. That's the challenge. That is the greed that we're going to overcome. That means just giving something to somebody is also dana. But in order for you to experience the real dana, you may try out those things too at some time. Dana is not whatever you buy and offer, right? But now there are issues. What are the issues? Someone might be not financially stable. He or she cannot buy something expensive. But his or her mind is very good mind. So we are not talking about those situations, definitely. I'm talking about somebody who has the affordability for the both occasions, both things, for those people, right? So dana is as such. That means you have to more focus on the purification of your thoughts. Right? Now, when you are coming to a temple for many years, right? Your bad virtues have to go down, supposed to have go down, right? Supposed to go down. But what about that somebody is coming over to a temple for 5, 6, 10 years, but still they have intoxications, I am the one who did this and did that. I've been practicing Dhamma for a long time. You're coming up with intoxications. You are trying to compare with other people. For those who do not come, that means you are having defilements, kilesas, even engaging in the good things. That is also kilesa. Talk about the greater kilesas. People who kill other people, who steal other people's stuff, people who misbehave, people who lie. This is the bad things we always see. But even the asavas, kilesas can arise from the good stuff too if you do not know your purpose. Your purpose is always to bring down lobha, dosa, moha, even in a small way, even in one step down. That is dana. This is the dana we are doing for the Petas. Now somebody might think, okay, we have a purpose. Yes, this is not greed. You are going to help out somebody. Actually, you should not think about the Petas while you are doing the karma. Because Petas can get a higher level of good karma if you do it in the proper way. Let's say now this is the dana time, 11 to 12, let's say. Then you are offering. At that time, you have to think that I am thinking about how to overcome my lobha, dosa, moha. After the dana event, at the end of the dana event, now it is the time for the transference of wealth. Then only you think about the Petas. Otherwise, what can go wrong? If you think about the Petas during the dana, your main purpose is only do something for the Petas. You are not purifying. First purify your thoughts. You have no lobha, I have no attachment, no greed towards the food or whatever. And I have no hatred, no dosa towards monks, towards everybody who came to this event. And because of that, I have no moha. My main thing is I want to attain Nibbana one day using this good karma. That's it. At the end of the dana, at the level of the transference, then only you think about what you call Petas. Make sense? Okay, now this is how you are supposed to engage in your dana practice. Is dana only food offering or anything like material offering? What are the other danas? Volunteering. Is it a dana? It is a dana. Right? What else? Pardon me?
Some sort of advice.
Counseling. It is also dana in a good, in good faith. What else? Dhamma sharing. It is the highest dana. Sabba dana, Dhamma dana, and Jinat. That means we are doing the highest dana now. Right? And after this talk, you will be sharing this with somebody. You are doing the highest dana. Now, when you are looking at highest or lowest, do not try to always rate yourself, because what you have to do is make every opportunity a dana. You can't always talk about Dhamma, right? Can you? That is going to be a little troublesome to other people. Unless you, for me, you talk about Dhamma. That is going to be a little strange and maybe harassing to some people. You talk about the Dhamma at the right time. Why do I say so? In the Mangala Sutta, Buddha says, Kalena Dhamma Savanam, Kalena Dhamma Sakaccha. That means you should listen to the Dhamma at the right time. You should discuss the Dhamma at the right time. Not while you are in the washroom, not while you are eating, cooking, not while you are eating. Right time. Have respect for that too. Yeah, Kalena Dhamma Savanam. You look at the Mangala Sutta. Kalena Dhamma Sakaccha. Some people, they mess up this thing. Wherever they go, they're going to turn this on all the time. Right? It's not good. So you have to maintain your normal life, lay life, and the Dhamma life. Both as a balance. Not doing over on anything. If you do too much on anything, there will be a disaster. Right? So, volunteering, spending time for some others, listening to their problems, it is also a dana. What else? Even smiling with other people, is it a dana? It is also dana. When you're smiling, they feel happy. They feel that, okay, I'm recognized, right? Some people say, you don't need to give me a solution, just listen to me. Just listen to me, listen to my story. It is a dana. Not many people want to listen. I don't want to listen to you. I don't have time for you. It is a dana. You have to understand how to listen to others by saving your time also. You don't always go listen to other problems. You may have not time there to do your thing. You have to balance it. Dana is such a very broad concept. Do not limit it to only a food offering. How does Bodhisattva perform dana? Bodhisattvas also perform dana, right? How many paramitas do we have in Buddhism? Really? 10 paramitas? How many? We have 30 paramitas, 30. Then who are performing 30 paramitas? Bodhisattvas. Then we have 20 paramitas. Who are performing 20 paramitas? Pacceka Buddhas. Then we have 10 paramitas. Who are performing them? Arahants. If you want to become a simple arahant, then practice 10 paramitas. Dana, Sila, Nekkamma, Panya, Viriya, Kanti, Satcha, Aditthana, Metta, Upekka. Mahayana has 6. Dana, Sila, Shanti, something like that. 6. Then how does Bodhisattva perform paramita in 30 ways? Let's take one paramita, Dana paramita. Arahants only practice Dana paramita. They just offer in their sansara other things. I think many of our Theravada participants want to become an arahant. Now I'm trying to say that. Can you just think about, consider other 2 options too? Why do you want to limit yourself? Become a larger, broader person in your spiritual journey. Not just aim at one thing. If you fall out of it, then where are you going to go? Have options. Right? Now Arahants only perform Dana Parami. They just offer external things, food or maybe a land of property or something. Then Pacceka Buddhas, they do Dana Parami in 2 ways. Dana Parami, Dana Upaparami. Dana Upaparami means Anga Parichago, blood donation, writing your name for organ donation, because donating your tissues, your eyes, right? So many things you can donate. Not everybody can do. Can everybody think about that you're going to die one day? Is it just a phenomenon in your mind? Is it thought? You're going to die, definitely, for sure. Just think about it. And then what will happen when we die? Somebody is going to do our funeral rites, your children, somebody. Then what will happen to my organs? They're just going to be burned. Wasted. See? So then now they have an option. I think in Canada we have this, when you renew your license, driver's license, they send this document, organ donation. If you want to donate, you just sign up. So then once you are dead, then the health services know that you already sign up for the organ donation. I mean, I'm not trying to say that you must. This is an option. That means organ donation, blood donation, they are more difficult than, more preparatory than just offering some food. That means you have to do you have to try the food first, and then you can think about. And then the third one is Paramatta. Who is performing that? Only Bodhisattvas. Dana Parami, Dana Paparami, Dana Paramatta Parami. Dana Paramatta Parami means sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. That means Bodhisattvas even risk their life for somebody's good cause. Right? We have so many stories about that in both Jatakas and Mahayana Avadanas. So, in order for you to become a Bodhisattva, you must practice each parami in 3 ways. Parami, Paparami, Paramatta Parami. If you take all the other examples, it is the same. Alright? So, dana is being practiced by many that way. And the Buddha says there are 3 types of people who offer dana. Have you ever heard that? It's interesting. Dana dasa, interesting. Dana dasa, dana sahayaka, dana pati. I'm not using the laptop today, huh? Is it okay? Because I can go with this way. Dana dasa is the first donor. Those people who offer things to monks or other people, things that are not consumed by them. Let's say I want to offer dana, maybe give something to someone, maybe you are going to give a wristwatch to somebody, but not the one I'm using, not to that level. I'm going to buy something a little cheaper than that. They are called dana das. Even when they give some food, they are not giving what they really eat. They buy from probably a lower, according to them, not to us, kind of from a lower, kind of graded food and kind of stuff, and they give. But are they better than those who don't give anything? Yes, they even better than them. And then dana sahayaka, those donors who offer exactly what they eat. They are not going to offer anything too less, too high. Exactly what they eat. Same thing. And then there is someone we call dana pati, master of dana, who is offering anything that is higher than what that person consumes. If it is food, he or she is trying to do the best out of it. Best food, best thing according to that person's affordability. Buddha says that kind of thinking is very good if you could, but sometimes you cannot. But the idea should be offer something that you could do to somebody in the highest possible way, because that will help you to purify yourself. Because our main purpose of dana is to purify us. Now let's go to the petas. Now this is dana which we just talked about. Now we are looking at the petas. Why do we need to transfer? Because there are no other people who are going to transfer good karmas to them. We are the only ones. Can petas disturb us? That's a good question, right? Can they disturb us? What does the Buddha say about petas? There is a sutta called Tiro Kudda. Tiro Kudda Sutta. Kudda means, what does kudda? Wall. So Buddha says, Tiro Kudde Sutittanti Sandhi Singatake Sucha Dwara Baha Sukachanti. So and so forth. Buddha says, some petas come to the wall of your house. Now don't be worried about it. Some. And then mostly the petas would like to live at crossroads, intersections. Actually, there is a saying that these paranormal activities, intersections are almost haunted. Some people die in the intersection. A lot of accidents happen at intersections, crossroads. And some even want to come to your doors, the Buddha says. But don't be worried. What they want is, they want to trace out their close relatives whom they were with in the past life, because they don't have any other place to go. They only come after the people who they know. Please give something to us. Please give something to us. So then, as a good person, your responsibility is every time you do something, think about if there are any petas who are trying to request any good karmas. Please, these are the good karmas you can take, and then wherever you are, be happy. This is what you should have at the time of the transference. So they really need help, right? And we have a number of occasions where petas have appeared, like the Pottapada, Bhante Arahant Pottapada's incident, and also Bimbisara, so petas, right? King Bimbisara. What happened to him? Who is the one who offered the temple to the Buddha for the first time? King Bimbisara. Where did he live? He lived in? Where did he live? The state of Magadha. It's a state, republican state. Where was the Buddha was born? In the state of? Where was he born? Where was the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha was born? Which state? Kosala. Kosala. At that time, Nepal is not Nepal, it's part of India, right? State of Kosala. So then once he renounced the house, he went to the state of Magadha. Magadha has Rajagaha, city of Rajagaha. That's the capital, right? So what happened was that then he then learned what you call everything that are related to that offering of the temple. And what happened was that King Bimbisara, after offering his temple called Veluvanarama, he saw a dream where Petas are troubling him. Then he said to the Buddha, some Petas are troubling me. Then the Buddha said, it is because you did the great karma. They are watching you now. They are watching that you done this. They want merits. And then he said, because you saw them as being naked, you have to offer some clothes, robes. And then after he offered, they went away. So dana is one of the best ways to offer something, give something to merits to the departed relatives. And there is no other easy ways to give good karmas to them. Alright, any questions? We'll take time for Q&A for a couple of minutes before the dana.
The offerings that now you mentioned is really...
You want to have the mic, please, so the recording can be done. Maybe you can turn the video too.
So when we offer, want to offer to our close relative or close friends, so we offer to the Sangha members. Is that the only way that the Peta can receive the merits or whatever they want, they can get?
Yes, it's a good question. Normally, Sanghas are supposed to be more virtuous, right? So when you offer something to a virtuous person, that creates more karma. That is why you are picking up Sangha. You can give this to somebody who is on the road, homeless person. It is also good. You have to do that also. But homeless person might not be virtuous compared to a Sangha. So in here you have to understand it is not because we are not helping everybody equally, because this is a spiritual thing. Not that you are trying to alleviate suffering of every being. That is a different thing. So we have to do that one also. But when you talk about Peta, it is a spiritual thing. You don't see them. So if you really want to create more good karma, you are going to looking for Sangha. That is why you are picking up Sangha at that point. But you can't give dana every day to Sangha, right? You can't go to temples every day. So then whenever you feel you can give some other things like food to other people, needy people, you can do. Then think about them too. But in dana concept, there is an intensification of dana. The intensification of the dana happens when you offer to somebody who is more virtuous, who has more sila, who has more samadhi, who has more panya. That is why you are picking up Sangha. You don't know which Sangha has that thing because you haven't seen them, what they are doing. But whenever you offer something to Sangha, your mind is more settled. That's of course a reality. When you offer something to somebody who has nothing, you have only compassion, mostly compassion. But when you are offering something to Sangha, more than compassion, you have more sila, you have more happiness, samadhi and panya. That is what I can say about it. So carry on the both. When you think about the Petas, I think preference should be given. Preference, sometimes you can give to other people too, to the Sangha. Not even Sangha, even the good people, the religious people in other religions too. Buddha says in suttas, Bahiraka people, members of other religious orders who are virtuous. Right? Not only the Buddhist Sangha are virtuous, others are also virtuous. But our sila is, Sangha sila is higher. So that is how we think. Yeah.
But they just see if the Peta need clothes. So we offer the the ropes to the Sangha by thinking of them, so straight away they get clothes. Is that how you mentioned?
How does the offering of robes will relate to the phenomenon of they going away? Well, let's say that you see the dead people being naked, and then you know that they need clothes. So you offering robes, maybe clothing, especially robes to the Sangha, because wearing those robes, Sangha will stay longer, do more service to the Buddha Sasana. Every time they use that robe, you getting lot of fractions of that karma merits, right? You never know how karmas are going to be considered. The consistency of karma is very too complex. Nobody can say. Buddha even said there are 4 things you should not think too much. What are they? Karma is one. If you think too much about karma, you will become a crazy person. Do not check actually. You should go to a mental hospital. Do not think too much about karma. Second, about the Buddha. Do not think about the Buddhas. You can't. The Buddha say even another Samma Sambuddha is to talk about another Samma Sambuddha. It takes billions, trillions years to finish. They cannot finish. That other Buddha cannot finish the virtues of the other Buddha. What about us? You should not think too much about the Buddhas. Then about the Chittas, our mind. Don't think too much about the mind. Just let it happen, but you are taking care of your mind as much as possible. Right? Kamma, and then I think the other one is the jhanas, I think. Yes. So there are 4 things that people should not overthink. So what I can say is when you offer, just think about, may this offering, I know that by wearing these robes, Sangha is going to flourish in the sasana and they are helping everybody in this whole universe. So you are getting karmas, good karmas each moment. Right? Even you donate something to the temple, to the monk, also you can think that way. Sangha will buy requisite from, one of the requisites is the robes, medicine. And then I know that because you are offering things according to time, right? You are not giving what you call a blade to the monk. Okay, now use this one to shave your hair. And you're going to buy a hair cutter to the monk. Right? At that time it was a razor. Right? Now monks don't use that. So you have to find out what they are using in today's world, right? So looking at how things going to be practical for them, with ropes you're going to offer. So all the time you're thinking about may the suffering, may whatever the pathas need be fulfilled by this thing. Yeah.
They just want, traditional Chinese, when a person died, they think they need a house, so they burn a house for them.
Mm-hmm.
They need a car, they burn a Mercedes.
You mean a simulation, huh?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Not the real house.
So
okay.
So can the beta receive all this?
Very excellent question. So in Sri Lanka, there is a tradition, I think even some other countries too. They, when they struggle with the peta, I would say a dead being, and there is a belief that a dead being is coming to the house and trans into somebody's body. Now the local people believe they invite somebody who knows the demonology, who can do some paranormal stuff, and then he says, okay, you bring a chicken rooster, you bring this one, and then he's playing a big scene overnight, and then he's talking loud and saying, okay, now you should go from this body, you should go from. I think that is like more than whether the event is going to be truthful, really working. When somebody is saying that all the time, repeating that, the spirit, I know you have trans into her body, his body, you must go away from now. That can help that person to think, right? I think in that tradition, what you said in your culture, this could be a joke to somebody when you see from outside. Why do they burn even money? But to me, I think different cultures understand these paranormal activities differently. If you don't want to do it, just don't do it, right? But for many others, if they think this is a cultural thing, our ancestors did, if you really think that this may go, but my understanding is some people cannot understand Dhamma in the same way as we do. They need some physical simulations. right? Whenever a monk says to you, you are a good person now, you may be a Sotapan, right? You feel, oh really? That might really impresses you in a different way. But for some other people, no, I don't accept that. I have to practice on my own. So I think it's a case by case, person by case thing. So I'm not saying such things are bad. It could be mythological, ritualistic things to many of us, but many people might benefit from that as a transition of their mind. Because, for example, a monk is to give a Dhamma talk. People come sit down, they learn Dhamma. But the majority of the people are not into Dhamma talks. They come to the temple, offer dana, and then they go. So how are they going to be benefited from the Dhamma? That is what they can do. Maybe they can try. But most of them, they are not. So I think this burning thing to me is a ritualistic thing. This still has some mental effects. Let's take that way. But you always have a choice. If you don't want to do, don't want to do. Just don't do it. Because if you are more educated, if you know that this is not going to help us scientifically, then you will make a choice. But we should never condemn anybody who is doing that, because that is their thing. The most important thing is the change of that mind. Some people change their mind just by listening to a talk, just by reading a book, just with their experience. Some people cannot. They want something physical, virtual, like a simulation, and now the spirit has gone. It depends on their ability in their mind. Make sense? That's how I think about it. Let's take another. Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask about this is not about departed relative.
Can you take the mic, please?
This is not about departed relative, but perhaps we do dana on behalf of a sick relative, and then we by right we tell the person, and then the person can rejoice. So this is how the person can also share the merits together. But what if the person doesn't rejoice and even scolds you and stop you from doing this? Should we continue this doing dana on behalf of the person?
Can you ask the question again? Parents?
Okay. If we do dana on behalf of the person, and this person is sick and he or she cannot come.
Okay.
So after that, we tell that, we do dana on behalf of you, so that they may rejoice. But what if the person doesn't rejoice and even stop you or scold you or, unhappy about what you have done? So how should we go about this?
If a child is not going to take a medication, saying that this is really not tasty for the child, are you going to stop not giving that to the child? Are you trying different other ways to do it? We try different other ways. If somebody is very scared of vaccination, but vaccination has become a must, mandatory thing, so are we going to skip them all the time? No, we find different ways to make that happen. So I think if the person is immobile, he or she cannot walk, he might simply or she might simply say his or her own version about that particular activity. But does that prevent us of not doing whatever the good thing that we could? Let's say the patient, the person is definitely suffering a lot, and this is the only thing we can do. So we just go ahead with that thing. We do our own good karmas at the right time. So I don't think, if this is a necessary thing, you may go and do it, family relative. But if he or she is really, really not good at that thing, so you can make a decision. But if you really want to do it, just go ahead and do it. You don't have to think a lot about that person, because when some people, they become bedridden, they cannot take that thing right away. They never thought that they would become bedridden, because everyone thinks I can live this long and I'm super convenient, comfortable. But once they become bedridden, they can't go, they can't move, they might not take everything in the right way. Just because of that, if you are a family member, if you really can do something, you should not have stopped doing it. So you can do it. Sometimes you don't have to tell that to that person also, because why we want to tell and make a scene, right? Yes. All right. I will take only one question, and we'll go to the chanting.
Ask a
Yeah.
question.
Mhm.
Uh,
Can you get the mic, please?
sorry.
Yes.
I just want to know if they just came in a dream that passed away after. They came to me and telling me that they need how to say marriage to go to should say something like better higher realms. They need the marriage. So what I do is that it's a dream. It might not it's not real, you see. So I just do metta meditation, Karanya meditations, Ratana meditation, chanting, chanting, and I do it while I'm doing meditations. So I chant it and I just share the knowledge to them. So I'm not sure whether I'm doing it rightly or I should get someone to do it or something like that. But I do it myself.
All right.
So is it rightly or not?
Well, if you see, I don't know whether it is a hallucination or a dream or a real situation. So we have to study it properly.
Yeah.
If it is really what we talk about here, Peters came to you in a dream, definitely what you should have done is offering some dana to the Sangha members. You could go for other things too, but now say for instance, Kim Bimbisar offered a very huge temple to the monks. It's not a normal dana. It's not you buy food and offer to the Sangha. It's a lot of money, but still the Peters came up at night. Why is it? They were not remembered. Then the Buddha said, you offer some dana with some robe, some clothing. Then they went away. We have to understand what they really want, not how we can do the dana. Because we are doing for them, right? So even our purpose today, why do we need to offer dana to repair? It is because they have specific needs. So you could have maybe in the future also you could consider about offering food dana with some clothing, I would say robes, to Sangha members. Yeah, because that is a specific necessity. You can't get over it just by chanting. Right? You will do chanting because you are scared. You might be scared. That might not help them. Right?
I chant every night.
Yeah. You can think about may chanting good karmas go to them, but this is not what they want. They want, because if they want some clothes, specifically Peters are looking for danas actually, food danas, food and other materials. All right?
How about if they are certain they are in the Dewa ranks or something like that?
You don't need to worry about them. You don't need to worry about their real status. If they come up, they appear, that means they need help. Just do your part. They will figure out the rest. That's their duty. All right. So now, all right. Now let's go to the chanting, and we will, then we will transfer the merits to at the end. So the